welcome to Provisionally Approved, the podcast that wins awards for its camera work. I'm Mike Gorrie, and #GorrieFact. Social justice warriors the world over agree that there are 7 axes of privilege: race, gender, sexuality, age, wealth, ableism, and Gorrie. Sitting with me today is...
Zoe Hollingsworth from Zebrafish Digital Media.
And Jessie, content producer for Offbeat.
All right, so it sounds already like both of you have fairly impressive resumes.
Yes, it's very long and awesome and very, very fancy.
Well, at
the very least, sort of within sort of the context of RMITV and community broadcasting. So we'll start with you, Zoe. Tell me about...
Sounds colourful.
Well, tell us. Yes, because it's all about the pink hair.
Yeah, it's all about the pink hair and the colour. And you guys are just all blue and mellow and everything, and I've got the colour. What was your question?
Well, the question I was going for was to tell us about Zebrafish.
So Zebrafish. So I run my own social media content company, which is for all those old people out there. It means that I create content like videos or GIFs or infographics, GIFs. That wonderful turmoil we had for social media for businesses or for individuals. So, and then I also do workshops to teach people how to do it. So my audience is mainly older people, but I do have a lot of younger people wanting to for me to film videos and content stuff.
Hey, okay, so if your audience is mainly older people, is that mainly sort of businesses or
mainly
sort of older
small
people?
business owners?
Oh yeah.
Mainly small business owners and medium business owners because they have the money to spend on social media.
Of course.
Because as we all know, social media is becoming a very new ground that a lot of businesses, very expensive one that people are a bit wary to get into. But you know, you can create content that people like and just be giving them everything, just giving people what they like to watch.
So in terms of that, do you find like sort of creating content specifically for an older audience on a new medium, is that?
It's a bit of a challenge sometimes, and it is a bit of a worry sometimes when you're trying to get something very simple across, as in like nothing against older people, they're great, they know what they want. But it's just when you need them to, oh, here's a tutorial on how to upload a video to Facebook, which for us seems very simplistic. And it is until you have to explain it to someone who doesn't know how to use Facebook or Twitter or anything. And that's fine, but it's a fairly intuitive design. So you just teach people how to use it and they get there eventually. But it's just the first hurdle that you have to deal with first.
So do you make packages and like sell them to them, or like is it in a public domain?
It's not really a selling point. It's more of they come to me first saying this is what I need, and then in turn, as we all do, you say, okay, you need a video. Say they want a tutorial on how to use their product. All right, you need a video. You need images to go with it. You need written content to go with it, and possibly, you know, 2 videos showing the actual product, and then second one how to use it, or a combination of everything. Every project is different, and that's why it's interesting.
So the whole, like constantly sort of new challenges and sort of dealing with that communication gap.
Yes,
yeah.
It's nice not to be bored every single day at work.
I can imagine. And what about you, Jess? I understand you're a content producer within, well, both within and outside of RMITV.
Just within. Hopefully, eventually, outside.
Ooh, fun set.
But currently just inside with Offbeat, which is really exciting. It's kind of my first step in the right direction, as I like to think, and my first go at doing this. I kind of just took the job not really knowing what I was getting into, and you know, I like to think you say yes and then you work it out afterwards, which is kind of what I'm doing.
Sounds like RMITV.
Yeah.
Just jump in and hope it works.
That's consistent with my experience of RMITV, and I would encourage everybody to do the same. Plug.
Well, it works. So.
So Offbeat, is that your first sort of big producing gig, or you've done other stuff?
I've done bits and pieces, mainly crewing. I did produce a show last year called 24 Melbourne, plug, which is still in development. Hopefully it will go out onto Channel 31, but it's still very up in the air. But if not, it will definitely be out there, and it will be sent, and we'll do it through live stream and online. I mean, that's where everything's heading anyway, so it'd be good to kind of get a head start on that as well.
Hey, so what is 24 Melbourne?
So 24 Melbourne is a half-hour variety show. It's quite similar to Offbeat, except the theme is Melbourne. So
Okay,
it's about local Melbourne. It's about small businesses.
Our art, our cafes.
Yeah, musicians, you know, just really celebrating Melbourne. You know, I think we can be a bit caught up in media globally, and sometimes you forget that there's actually stuff going on in your neighborhood that you don't even realize. I mean, I think I know more about presidents in America than I do about my own prime ministers. Like,
Yeah, but unfortunately, that's not your fault.
Yeah.
That's not your fault. They pushed it on us very hard.
Yeah, you know, it was like I went to see Nick Offerman, a week and a half ago, and he was saying that he felt so bad because he landed in Australia and his tour manager is like reeling off all these like presidential facts and, you know, all these candidates, and he's like, I don't even know any of them.
So white guy, white old guy,
Yeah.
white guy, white guy,
guy.
white woman, white guy, not so white guy, white guy,
White guy.
white guy.
Well, so what
Sounds like the Oscars.
yeah, actually.
Ooh, burn.
But what are some of the challenges within that though? Like, as in sourcing content. Like, obviously, you know, sourcing local content, it's a lot easier than, say, you know, trying to. Well, not necessarily easier, but it's a lot more sort of within the budget, I suppose, than like trying to source stuff from like Sydney. But in terms of actually sort of finding that.
Yeah, with 24 Melbourne or Offbeat?
Both, I suppose. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely more of a let's do paperwork and build a set and let me
Plan
like,
everything.
Yeah, plan everything, book guests. I'm like so down for that. When it comes to when they're like, yeah, you have to make segments, then I'm like, sure, sure. Like that part of it, I was like, funnily enough, that's like the biggest challenge for me.
It's part of your yes, do it. Figure it out later.
Yeah. Or like asking everyone, like, so if you had a TV show, what segment would you like on it? Oh yeah, that sounds great. Just write that down. Gonna use that. No, but yeah, so that's definitely the challenge. But at the same time, I think it's just like, it is all about networking. It's all about going, what do I like? What do I, you know, you look at shows like, you know, you look at community shows, what works, what doesn't work. You look at the past seasons, what worked, what didn't work. And even as to go to like, you know, those really big late night shows or daytime shows. And I know that's like ambitious, and community television is not the Jimmy Fallon show, but it doesn't mean you can't seek inspiration. And, you know, even they have their problems, you know, every show does. And you go, oh, so why do I like this bit so much and why don't I like that? And you just have to kind of work that, you know, you work out that balance, and it is trial and error.
And see how far you can push within your tiny budget.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what's so great about Offbeat as well. Is like, I feel like with every season, you know, there are different producers working on it. There's different crew. So you're always trying something new. There's always new things happening. And, you know, this season we're really about pushing that envelope and really looking at what was so good about the first season and going, right, let's just make this like the best. Well, we like to think the best season ever, but you know, people will come and season 3 will happen and they'll be like, now this is the best season ever. But we hope we set the bar high enough that people will feel a little bit intimidated.
What season are you up to? Are you up to?
2's going to air in March.
2 air in March, cool.
Yeah.
Starting in March. Okay.
Yeah, mid-March.
Yeah.
14th, look it in your diaries, guys. Live, Channel 31, 4:30 p.m, Monday to Friday.
So for anybody who might be interested in applying to be on Offbeat, like whether it's like a content creator or as crew or as you know, or as a host in some cases, me. Totally not a
Subtle
selfish
plug.
question.
Hashtag subtle plug.
You have to apply.
But yeah, like for people who'd be interested in applying, like not wanting to like sort of not wanting to prime people too much, but like in terms of like what are some of the things you'd recommend either that people do or not do in sort of putting segments together, like
putting out like call outs and that kind of thing, like what to do, what not to do.
Just in terms of like, because you mentioned before, like, you know, a lot of it's about like watching stuff that's gone before and seeing like, okay, what problems did they run into?
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the problems you're looking at addressing with that?
I don't know, because like, it's a really good question.
And I'm just going to watch you answer it.
You don't have to have an immediate answer.
Well, I guess like, you know, what's one problem to one person may not be to another. So I think that's the tricky thing to tackle in the first place. Like, you know, it comes down to the debate where people go, who's your favorite late night host? And you're like, you know, I'll be like, oh, I love like Conan and like James Corden. And then they're like, no, I love Jimmy Fallon. Who are you? You know, like, how could you even think that? Like, he's like God, you know, which I have friends who do think he's God. It's a bit scary. And it's like, well, I just don't, I don't really connect with this kind of part of it. And it comes down to personalities as well.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, like, we do so much behind the scenes. But if somebody is going to tune in and they don't like who they're seeing or what's going on, then they're going to, like, tune out. So I guess that's the tricky part about like casting and making content that people want to see. And that can be hard because like I said, what one person doesn't like, one person may like, and I don't know, I guess it's just, you know, it's like a lucky dip.
And, shooting for the middle isn't really an easy thing to do because the middle is is here-ish out of here-ish.
Yeah, it's kind of like a really like weird fuzzy line that is hard to see. But I think then you just have to step back and you go, well, we're not going to please everyone, right? So let's do something that we're excited about. Let's do something that we know is pushing the envelope, that's different. And let's just make it worthwhile, you know. It's community television. It's about having fun. It's about being a team and getting involved. And that's what's so much fun about shows like Offbeat. You know, you just get in there and get dirty.
Did you hear that, Malcolm?
I don't think he's watching. But,
oh yeah, he wouldn't, would he?
Well, I don't know. I'm sure I'm on a few government lists, being the Gorrie and all. But
of course you
but yeah, like ultimately, yeah, my experience is pretty much the same in terms of sort of like finding. Almost sort of finding the crossover sort of between like what you're able to do at the time and the kind of content that you want to see exist. Because like that ends up being a really small crossover. Like I know I personally like there's hundreds of different shows that don't exist that
personally you would like to see, like to see, maybe not even do, but you'd like to see out there.
Yeah.
But then when it comes to reality and you actually have to do it, that small Venn diagram, like that small little overlap of a circle, that tiny little itty bitty line, is what you're able to do and what you. It's not really a case of budget because there's a whole bunch of stuff you could do with no budget. And that happens to me a lot, where I have to do something with no budget, but at least you try, or at least people know what you're going for. And you know, at least from a production standpoint, what is more important. Say, for example, like, okay, we're in a studio, but we have no sound. All right, let's figure out sound first. Because even though you might be in this great studio with great lighting, sound is, even though it's visual format, it's technically more important than video.
If there's one thing that I have learned in the last year and a half, it is that if you have good quality video but shitty audio, it's just shit. But
people switch off straight away.
If you have good audio but somewhat shitty video, people will still tune in because I don't know. I think sound is such much more of a bigger sense than sight. You know?
Well, it also hits on a much more sort of subconscious level, I think, in terms of because it's that sort of thing. Like we're also focused on sight that we don't sort of notice that the other senses are there, but they're still sort of part of the experience.
It's like how sound, like smell, is such a big memory trigger, and they trigger visual memory. Sight doesn't trigger sound or smell memory. So it shows you how much more powerful the other senses are.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what community television is for.
Learning
Providing
about
the
sound.
senses.
Well, smell-o-vision.
Well, I mean, there's such like it's so difficult to find to actually find good sound at the student or community level, like because as that thing where. You know, you look at something like the Oscars or any sort of awards. Like even the joke I made before about this show winning awards for its camera work. You know that like the awards for
Floor
DOPs.
manager's getting offended. He doesn't mean it, sweetie.
I mean, because everybody wants to be a DOP or a director or a or everybody wants to be in, or,
creative.
Some people want to be in front of the camera, but those are the roles that are sort of seen as being prestigious.
Because they're glory roles, because they're the roles that get all the credit. You know, producers sit in offices all day, or they're running around getting coffee, and they're doing all the pre-production and the legwork, and they're there, you know, calling, you know, on the phone to actors in 2 o'clock in the morning because they're like sick, and you know, they're the ones that are up at all hours of the day. Yet they're the ones that don't get any credit, or people think, oh, they're just the financial side of it.
Or the financial backers, and you're just
and you're just like, oh.
But then again, that wasn't really good. Well, when I was younger, I didn't know what a producer was.
Yeah.
And even though I was very interested in media, it wasn't clear to me what a producer was or even what a producer did. I just thought, mainly because, you know, as we all did when we were younger, we did those cool little, like, little movies or little things that you make when you're younger because you think you've got such vision.
Yeah.
It's quite funny though. Like, I feel like where you come from, and even, you know, when people say, oh, what did you used to want to be before you became what you are? And it's like, it actually affects you so much, and it is such a product of who you are now, I believe. Like, I remember being in my room and, like, editing, like, little Harry Potter music videos.
Oh, that's
like,
fantastic.
Really, like, that's 15-year-old me summed up in a nutshell. Because I wanted to be an editor, you know? And then I was like, oh, these camera shots are cool. I'm going to be a DOP. And then, you know, you go and you study for a bit, and then I go,
I don't want to be any of those things.
Wait, are we allowed to swear?
I
think we're beyond that.
We're not supposed to. I don't think.
I do apologize. We're beyond that point now.
We're getting the.
But then you're like, oh. Yeah, I'm actually not that creative. I would actually rather do the paperwork and run around and like fix lights and stuff.
But you have to remember not to have that creativity stifled from you, though.
Yeah, true.
Because as we get older, as we all know, when we're young, when kids, we can do anything, and then when we're older, we can't do anything. But you have to remember that you are allowed to be creative, no matter how uncreative that you think you may be. You are allowed to strive. You can do it. You can do it.
I think it's interesting though, because, you know, I mean, I'm only 20, so I like to think that I know where I'm going.
We don't know where we're going.
Like, I don't know, like, you know.
Why do you think those older people laugh at us?
But, you know, like, I think it's interesting because it's such a time of your life, like, especially 17 till 19, 20, even later, that, you know, you spend a lot of the time going, like, questioning who you are and, like, what you want to be. And you go to university the first time. And, you know, a lot of people, they change what they want to do, or they finish their course and go, all right, I'm going back to do something completely different. And I think because of that, when you kind of finally find something that clicks, like for me it was producing. Like, I spent so much time focusing on, like, I feel like I had to be like creative, and I had to be a DOP, or I had to be a director because, you know, I'd kind of set that up for myself. And then I started doing television and producing. I was like, and it just clicked, and I'm like, this is what I want to do, you know? And I think once that clicks, it is so satisfying because it's like you finally actually found something that is like a piece of you. Because I feel like your life is literally just putting a jigsaw together of like who you are.
Yeah,
you know?
You can change what you want to do in life, and that's the fun. That's the great thing of it. It's like sexuality; it's a completely fluid thing. Like, you can do what you want with it.
Well, yeah, you may find in 3 months or 3 years or 30 years that you want to completely change tracks, and that's completely fine. Well, actually, one of my I'm gonna Okay, my dad is nearly 60, and he says he still doesn't want to do still doesn't know what he wants to do when he grows up, and he's nearing retirement, and he's like, nope, I don't have my career figured out.
Maybe he wants to retire.
Yeah,
Maybe that's the thing. That's the career.
yeah. Well, and it's like it's not a bad thing. Like I think we're kind of like growing up, we're sort of sold this narrative of like, oh, you're going to become one thing and be that for most of your life, and like I think it's.
I know, like, you have to get this grades and you have to do this. Like, I remember being 14 and sitting in, like, in the hall.
Oh,
school
God,
hall,
feeling
and
that pressure.
Yeah, and just to clarify, so I studied overseas in the British system. So I did GCSEs, which, guys, just Google it. It's too complicated. Okay. I did GCSEs and then A-levels. If anyone knows Harry Potter, it's the equivalent to what's in Harry Potter, so the owls.
and we all know those were stressful. Yes. Those were really stressful.
The owls are basically GCSEs, but so that's year 10 and 11 basically taken up of your life. And you're 14, they're like, right, so you have to make decisions now for the rest of your life, basically your future. What do you want to do? Start Googling universities, tell us what. And like, I'm a completely different person to my 14-year-old self. Like, how could you be expected to know that? And you're literally set up for that life. Like, I was set on this idea that I was going to get really good grades and I was going to go and get a degree in, like, art or film or whichever. But then I didn't do very well in high school. And I spent a while moping around going, shit, what do I want to do? I want to do film, but, like, I don't know how to do that. And then my mum kind of forced me into this, like, Cert 3 or whichever. And then I realised I don't want to do film because it's a lot of waiting around. And then,
yeah, that.
Yeah. And then I got into the Cert 4 for television production. And then I found myself and I found what I loved. And yes, it was a long road to get there. But it was such a character building experience, and sometimes you have to go off-road to get back on the right road.
Well, you have to also, sorry.
No,
you also have to remember that people of our generation, especially in our generation, we are not going to keep the same career. It is a fact that maybe, of our grandparents and maybe of our parents' generation, kind of not getting there now, but they kept the same job for their entire lives because, again, they were fed the same narrative that we've been fed, that you have to do the thing that you signed up to when you were young, and maybe have one career change your entire time, and that's called a midlife crisis.
And
married babies. But we are going to change multiple careers and multiple jobs throughout our lives. It's going to be incredibly lucky if we even keep to the ones that we're aiming for now.
It's exciting though. Stability is so old school.
Who needs money or jobs?
Well, if either of you two have seen House of Cards, like within season 1, one of the main characters goes from like this sort of high-profile newspaper job into like this new sort of startup, sort of like a much more sort of fluid, like sort of less top-down business model, and like and when and she asked the question, oh well, this is really unstable. Like I don't even know if I'm still going to be here in 2 years. And her boss is just like, you really want to work in the same place for 2 years? It's like, no, you won't still be here. You'll be somewhere better.
I guess I don't know. I think we're privileged to be able to move jobs. I don't know. It depends. It depends if you want to move or if you like instability like I do, because I like change and, well, kind of. I like to be kept on my toes, and I like there to be a different challenge every day. And I think that's why I love producing is, yes, I can complain that I'm getting a bazillion emails all the time, and, you need to do this, you need to do that, there's a problem here and there. But I like that. I thrive off of that.
There's something to do.
Exactly. You get, and it keeps you in the present because it keeps you thinking, all right, this needs to happen today and now, and I don't know. You feel
present,
good.
and then a couple of weeks in the future.
Yeah,
that's the time period that you're in.
You feel productive every day. Like you feel. I don't know. I think the end product though. Come on, it's so like satisfying. Like you go through hell and back, and then it's there. It's like
and you see it, or you sit down and you watch it, and you're looking at it going,
I did that.
I did that. You see that shot? We had to cut it early because he stuffed up. Oh, look at that. Oh, see,
Yeah, I'm so excited.
That's how we're like in the media world. When you just see something, you're like, this is awesome. You know why? Because we did a good job.
Yeah.
And he stuffed up that line, so we had to cut it. And just,
I don't know. Like personally, like I'm actually really prone to getting the opposite feeling. I actually usually find by the time I'm done creating something, I've already decided that I'm looking back on it and sort of seeing all the mistakes and all the bad decisions and sort of going like, oh well, like
poor
okay,
thing.
I learned from this. This is good, but I don't like the end result here. I'm just going to move on to the next thing. And then, of course, by the time I've finished that, I've made some new mistakes and learned from that, and like as that sort of creator's curse thing.
That happens with everyone. That does happen a lot with people, and you do see, and that happens a lot with creative people like us that have that problem of you get to that certain point in a project, or you get to that point in a project, even early on in a project, you can just think, I don't want to do this anymore, this is bad, but you have to stick with it and complete it because you've started it, you put in money, you've got other people involved, or what have you, and you have to keep everything going.
Yeah,
which is not fun.
Well, like it's that thing of like it's taken me this long to sort of really like in theory I knew that I should be separating that feeling from the actual product. It's like, oh, you know, it's out there in the world, and you know, like of course I'm going to hate it because all I'm going to see is the mistakes that I've made in it. So, you know, whatever.
Well, we're
but
our own worst critics.
Yeah, exactly. And I've only sort of just in the last few years started learning to actually sort of separate
Love yourself.
those two things. Yeah,
love yourself, sweetie. Love you.
But you know, like it's something that takes a while, and I know like I'm not the only person who has that problem, which is probably actually the most encouraging part of it. But so, you know, to all those out there who have that problem, like, stop it. You're fine. Keep going.
Well, you know, like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people in film and television are perfectionists, and I didn't think I was one until
you started.
Yeah, and like the other day, one of our new teachers was like, "Oh, so who's a perfectionist in this class?" And I didn't raise my hand, and everyone looks at me like, yes, you are. And I'm like, really? But, you know, like, and I'm a bit of a control freak in nature, but it's just because...
That's why you're a producer.
Yeah, that's why I'm a producer. And it's because you put so much time and tears and blood and effort into something that, you know, like, especially with live shows, it gets to it, and then you're just like, then you just have to let go. And it's such a... Oh.
I was a bit worried about the blood thing.
Oh, we've lost a microphone.
It's such a... It's such a great relief. Like, you know, you just feel this, like, the show goes live and it's all happening and it's just like...
All you have to do is just sit back and watch it unfold and turn.
Yeah,
so that's the feeling you have once it's out there.
Yeah, well, but that's something that I've always really liked about both theatre and live TV actually. That by the time it's out there, you know, you don't have time to sort of stew over it before it's out there, and you're sort of looking at it going, like, you can learn from it straight away and apply that straight away.
It's so much fun though, like, I love live TV so much.
Yeah.
Because,
just
shit
that rush.
can go wrong, and
Yeah.
you're fixing things within ad breaks, and you're like, oh my God. And everyone's running around, and
everyone's so stressed.
It's such a great adrenaline. I love stress.
Oh, plenty of stuff can go wrong in stuff that isn't live as well. Like,
I don't drink coffee, so stress is my...
That's a good move.
You and both, sister.
That's a really good move. Like I
not drink coffee or the boom bit. Which one?
Both really.
Yeah.
Like I personally find like coffee mucks me up, but I don't have the 3 days that it would take to go cold turkey. So it's kind of that thing of like, oh, you know, short-term costs versus long-term costs. Like,
don't worry, you'll have better hearts than the both of us.
But yeah, but again, like it's sort of that short-term versus long-term thing again. Like the, because for the last year I've been doing a like a location-based sitcom, which
called
The Ascenders. I'm trying not to plug it.
That's why you have to plug.
Yeah, I'm trying not to plug it too much on this show because I've already plugged it.
Every week.
Yeah, you're here every week, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
Sorry, we forgot about that.
It's about us today.
Oh yes, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, like obviously, you know, that was sort of full of its own problems in the sense that, you know, even though it's not live, you know, a lot of the time we'd well, in one instance we had, you know, sort of a long weekend of shooting where it was our only real chance to get that location. And then, of course, when actors suddenly decide they're not available, you're not able to then, you know, sort of do a half shoot and get the pickups later. And it all kind of
the wonders of producing. And that happens in happens in film, television, any sort of media that is scripted or even live. That happens a lot, and people don't understand that every single movie, television series, what have you, ever made has required some planning and has had someone or a lot of people working on it. Besides the room, we're pushing it out.
Besides the room.
But the idea is that no matter how bad something is, people have put a lot of effort into it. So it could be a terrible film, a terrible series, or a terrible whatever. But people have put effort into it. And it makes me cry when people you look at it and you're going, I can't even watch this.
well, see, like, people put a lot of effort into The Room.
Well, they're making a lot of money off it now, sweetie. So I think they're fine.
Yeah.
Maybe enough to get a bit of job done in the face. But no offense to him. He just doesn't have a face for television.
I just point that out because you pointed that out as an exception. But, like, let's be real here. People did put a lot of effort into that.
I know. That's what I don't like the idea of. It just seems like so much. Yep, we're getting distracted.
That people put so much effort into The Room, and then it turns out, well, it's The Room.
Yeah, but then again, they're making a fair bit of money off it. Like one of the guys. I don't know. One of the fellow actors has written a book.
The Disaster Artist.
All that type of thing, which is very nice to see that you can make a positive come out of a negative, and that's always a good thing.
Well, because the Disaster Artist got a movie deal, didn't it? I think that I'm pretty sure that they're making a movie based on the book that was about the making of The Room. Are you familiar with The Room?
Okay.
No?
Sorry, I just Inception in my mind. All right, sorry.
I just thought of the new movie.
Of course,
yes.
And I was like, is it really that bad?
No.
Not that one.
Okay, so The Room is I can't remember what year it is. This is like early 2000s.
Yeah, it was about a decade plus.
About a decade ago.
Wait, I think I know the one that James Franco's doing a movie out of.
Yeah. I think.
Yeah,
was it James Franco?
He's doing a movie about the book, about the making of the film.
Yeah.
Tommy Wiseau, long breezy hair.
Okay. Someone mentioned it a while ago.
So if you do search The Room and then just YouTube all there's a lot of explanation videos as to why it's a bad film. But it's so bad it's good. It's in that very niche area of it's so bad it's good. Mind you, I haven't been able to sit through one sitting of it. But it's just the ability to get to that point where everything is, it's like a porn film, but no porn. So it's really incredibly tedious.
And James Franco can do a movie with no porn in it?
I think you might be pushing it, but we can try.
It'll be R-rated, but it won't have actual.
It won't have actual stuff in it. But no, that's the way I explain The Room to people. Is that it's just the tedious parts of a porn, just an entire movie.
Team America seems more exciting than that film. And that was puppets.
Team America isn't exciting?
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
It's got explosions and puppets everywhere.
Team America was an amazing movie. It's got that. I mean, within the opening scene, you've got two puppets literally just like dancing across the room at each other, like what?
You know
it's
what?
like
The funny thing is, though, there are so many things against that film. Like, for it to not to work, but it just worked.
Yeah.
Well, the creators of South Park did do well. They are they are very creative people. Like, the Book of Mormon and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm plugging things that do not need
That's
to be
right.
plugged.
Book of Mormon's coming
we
over.
didn't work on that. So.
No, I did. What I did work on was a documentary called Geeked Beta. So there's a podcast down in Geelong where I'm from. Hell to the hizzy. And there's a bunch of guys down there that do a podcast about geeky topics. So I've just been doing a little documentary on them, on how it's all been going through the process of a podcast, almost like something that we're on now, and going through that whole process. And now they're up to they're doing quite well. They're doing quite well. Like, they've got a lot of videos and a lot of content.
Is it winning awards for its camera work?
No, because he's got no one manning them. So they're just tripods. But they haven't won any awards yet, but at least they're trying. They're getting there. I'll put them into awards. It'll be fine. I'll figure it out.
So yeah, like on the. Sorry,
You're right. You need to
I
find some
can't.
water.
I really.
There's water there.
There's water.
Lips.
I can concept, but I can't words right now. It's,
I can't do that.
just I need to learn to snap my fingers so that I can cover that a bit better.
You know, just get in touch with your inner Sharpay Evans.
Sharpay Evans, who I don't even know who that is.
High School Musical, sweetie.
Oh, okay. I haven't watched.
You have wounded her. You have wounded her.
That is a classic.
High School Musical is classic, or the.
High School Musical.
Right, that's Sharpay Evans, right?
What?
Good. I got the reference, right?
What, this or?
I don't know.
No,
Sorry.
that's just me. No, she does that. Brr, brr.
Oh, she does the brr. That's where I'm getting that. Okay,
yeah.
I don't know where this is from.
This is a reference that I'm not
although
getting.
we can Cat in the Hat. Anyone see that? It's a classic.
No, I haven't.
With Mike Myers. It was real before you bought it. You won't get that reference.
We're losing you.
unless-
We're losing you.
You won't get that reference unless you see it, but seriously, it is one of the best films ever.
Yeah, I think the.
I don't know, so many
actually,
people have done it.
I don't actually know where the click 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 thing originated from. I think it's probably actually part of the whole like sassy black woman stereotype or something.
Yeah.
Probably, and we've just appropriated as we have as white folks. We've appropriated.
Yeah, we seem to be good at that.
Were you trying to make a point before with your face?
Well, I do have points on my face, but no. I was going to. It had something to do with content creation, like as a general thing. Yeah. Okay. So bad it's good thing. I mean,
We're getting it out of him. I promise.
We're going to get it out of me. Thank you for your patience. On the subject of things that are like so bad they're good, or like and like content creation, or like and all that sort of stuff. Like, are there sort of any short films or clips or whatever that you've created that you just sort of look back on and go, ugh?
Well, they've all been deleted from YouTube for a fact. Like I did, I had a whole bunch of stuff when I was younger. Because I was very much into music videos. It was like music videos was something that I really wanted to aim for, and I still kind of do.
Well, to be fair, music video, there's a lot of stuff that music videos seem to be able to do that doesn't happen anywhere else. Like they tend to go pretty big on the effects and.
Because it's like poetry in visual form.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, finish.
Yeah. So when I was younger, I made a lot of music videos. Again, using my very crappy camera, using Windows Movie Maker, because that's all I had access to. And I got pretty advanced in Windows Movie Maker. I was very advanced.
Word art is some serious stuff.
Yeah, I could just I could do plenty of good stuff in there. And I deleted all that from YouTube for a reason. It's probably still out there. Knowing the internet, it's probably still out there. And there's a fair few stuff that I'm sure we've both created when we were younger that we'd rather not bring up again. But
I've got like a backlog of like fanfics and stuff that I wrote when I was 14.
Oh my god! For which fandom?
I'm not even going to say.
Come on, why? No, you got me really interested now.
Malfoy and Hermione, I don't know. What are we up?
Well, let's go with that. No.
So it's even worse than that.
No. It was actually.
My 16-year-old self would say no.
It was actually more friendfic than fanfic. Like it was sort of like.
So they're going on, holding hand, having adventures together.
Yeah, basically. Like as in like sort of.
Where's your spark?
Come on, let's be honest. Fanfiction is all about
the spark.
It's all about the spark.
I don't know how graphic we can get.
Okay, that kind of spark. Sure, why not?
That lasts for a good few pages.
No, chapters.
Oh, sorry, chapters. Must forget the chapters.
Yep. Well, a chapter, a page. Sometimes there's not much difference. You'll have chapters that go for like 3 paragraphs, and then some that go for.
I read a fanfic that went for 30 chapters. That was commitment.
That is commitment, sweetie.
Yeah.
Like you are committed.
Yeah. That was a long time ago.
I talked about this one last week, but there was a Harry Potter fan fiction that I read that was longer than all 7 books combined.
What? That's
You know, it's finished now, but and it had like this huge sort of cult following.
Sounds like
But I think they
isolation.
kind of do. They do get into that cult following area.
Totally didn't enter the dark stage at all in my life.
No, none of us did.
No.
None of us
Is
did.
it such a dark stage though? Because there are actually people now who, like, you know, they get their name out there in the first place by writing fanfics.
What, like 50 Shades
It's
of
great.
Grey?
Oh God.
Twilight fanfiction.
Well, let's be
By the
fair.
way, I
A lot of
found
money
the
has been made out of that
originals,
franchise.
pretty
Yes, and it just surprised me so much when it came out February last year that everyone went, like all these people went to go see it on my newsfeed,
so
and they said it's so bad. I'm like,
No.
yes. where is your shock and amazement in this situation? Of course it's bad.
Oh, like me and my best friend, well, her mom was reading the book, and we were on holiday, and like we're like reading the little passages from it, like really dramatic reading, and then so you just hear out, "Hey, are you reading my book?" And we're just like,
No.
Well, actually, there was a.
Well, we all have that dark stage in our lives because we all had that point when we were in that moody, angsty teenage stage.
Tumblr
Wh-
phase.
when-
Tumblr phase, or when we keep going, and you got to remember that people think life is short. It is not. It is bloody long. And when you're in that angsty teenage stage, that can last a very, very long time.
Yep.
Some of us are still not out of it.
It's funny you say that because I was just about
You
to
can
say
plug
that.
your
that
Tumblr
but-
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not plugging my Tumblr, but I do.
We're not saying Tumblr is a very we're not saying
Yeah.
a Tumblr is a teenage thing because I have a Tumblr.
I
And
still have
a lot
mine.
of people have a Tumblr, but it's where a lot of angst,
Yeah.
teenage angst, kind of
There is-
gets out there
Where you work out all your feelings.
on the internet with
Through
strangers.
Well, yeah, like it used to be. Well, when I was a teenager, it was, you know, a very different set of places where you do that. It was like places like LiveJournal or that sort of thing.
Classic.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
It's just
Offbeat.
Tumblr's sort of taken over that niche, but it's got like a bunch of other small niches as well. It's just that's the one that it's known for.
Yeah, I know, but you know what's so great though? Like if you look back on that, like that's where you're working yourself out, learning things, and I feel like you learn a lot. Like I learned so many Photoshop skills, okay, from making GIFs and graphics, and you learn coding, you know,
Yeah.
by working out your own sidebar, and you know, you learn through that. You know, LiveJournal. Like this is kind of embarrassing, but I did Podfic for a while, which is, do you know what that is? It's like audiobooks for fan fiction. So it's like a
Oh.
podcast of like. But, you know, then through that you learn audio skills and you meet people and you network and, you know, they go off and, you know, like I've networked with people who are now studying film and TV in like different parts of the world, or they're studying English, and I just think it's such a great way. It makes the world so much smaller, and that means no matter where you go in the world, you have a couch to crash on.
Potentially,
No, but
yeah.
I just do remember those when you said Photoshop when you were younger. I learned how to use, you know, Adobe like 5 or something, like really, really
Yes.
small,
You know,
like
the-
really
yeah.
early Photoshop.
Paint
with
and then
and paint, and then you advance, of course, and just do all this like stuff, you know,
Yep.
wells and stuff like
Just
that.
lots of swirls.
Lots of swirls.
Lots of clouds and swirls in different
Oh,
colors.
yes, the days. Sorry, we're just.
Sorry, this is like so not even on topic with live television or production.
What was your topic to begin with?
Well,
Like you said, you started off with one, but doesn't mean we stick to it.
oh, yeah, well, we usually just sort of start off with like, okay, like if in doubt, go to this.
And how's that going?
We're doing well.
Cheers.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, we can talk about like diversity in television or women in media or whatever. Like if you guys want to.
Are you sure you want to go that way? Yeah. Diversity in television. I do feel like when you're in Australia, you do have a tad bit more diversity than a bit more. But then again, once you go to places like Geelong or no, again, nothing against it. When you go outside of that Melbourne multicultural centre, because this is where a lot of multicultural is, it has a tendency of being very Anglo-Saxon white. Like
Yep.
it is obviously there are, you know, I'm just saying it's a bit white where I come from. There are plenty of people who are not white who are in Geelong, but it's just not in the media sense,
Yeah.
or people who are willing to get their face on a camera, or you know. do anything regarding to that. So diversity is always nice.
I think.
But it's always nice to see a woman doing something.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because whenever you talk about diversity, people automatically jump to like hosts and talent. Like even if you think about the Oscars and stuff, it's all like, you know, it's all white people because it's all actors and directors.
Yes.
But nobody ever talks about the diversity beyond that.
Yeah, but like behind the screens, because Oscars, you know, how many cameras they have around?
Yeah.
Like those odd, those things on wires. Oh, they're cool.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, again, I'm sure not all their, you know, crew is white.
But I mean,
Male.
even on like all the productions, like, you know, like, I don't know, The Tonight Show and, I don't know, Ellen and
The Daily Show.
any
and
shows, Graham Norton, the news, like nobody talks about diversity beyond that. And
beyond like who you see in front of the camera.
yeah, exactly. And beyond the, like you said, what are they, you know, like the director and the cinematographer, were they the glory roles?
Yeah.
The ones that get credit, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I think we need to look beyond that, you know.
It would be nice if people were actually able to identify people, unless you're outside of the media industry, that you're able to identify, all right, cool. Oh, cool, I know who that guy is, sound-wise, so you can visually identify people.
Like, I mean,
You want us to shut up, don't you?
Well, I was just about to say that we are running out of time, which is a bummer because I do actually want to keep this going, but we do have to cut it short, sadly. So
Simply put, more diversity in our media. In Australian media, we
and
need more diversity.
More females as well.
Yeah, because we can do anything.
diversity good. But that said, it is time to close up. So this has been Provisionally Approved. I've been and still am Mike Gorrie.
I'm Zoe Hollingsworth.
And I'm Jessie Upwood.
And we will see you next week. Oh, so this is the digital equivalent of those moments where you say goodbye and then walk in the same direction because you're still here. But seeing as you're still here, how about these links here, here, and here? I don't know which ones are which. One of them is a show, one of them's a logo, and one of them is more of us, if that's your thing. I hope it's your thing because why wouldn't it be?